All right, good evening. This is Mr. Drake. Yeah, we are here again for continuation of our yesterday's series. So now, websites can either now websites can be built using two setups, two major setups. In fact, there are more than two. Um, but basically, you can either code a website, HTML, languages using languages such as HTML and CSS, or you can build a website using WordPress, Wix, and some other you know platforms. So basically, you have you can either code a website or build a website using um, content management content management setups. So now um, the difference. Some persons will tell you, are you going to use a skeleton for my site? Are you going to use WordPress? Are you going to buy a template? Are you going to do this and not do that? Customers become so inquisitive, not because they know what you're talking about, but because maybe they heard it from somewhere that some people don't build sites. Some people just go somewhere and just download it and just fix it there and say they build sites for you. And it's not good enough. And your money will just go and it will not go well. And it's a lazy way of building a site. And many misconceptions like that. But the truth is that WordPress as a website designing tool is actually most times more preferable than coding. Now, coding, when you say when you talk about coding, writing of CSS and HTML, use of CSS and HTML, it's like you're going to write complex codes for almost every function of a website. You are going to write codes for everything, every function of the website, the color, the way it behaves, the functionality, everything, the homepage, how it appears, how the header appears, and everything. You're going to code every single thing. So now, but it's quite now. Imagine you are trying to build a website for a school. A school has 1,001 functionalities. It's going to take you days. It's going to take you months for you to code all the functions that will be needed for a learning management site. Or you want to code a hotel management system. I mean that takes a ton of codes, and that is why websites at the very beginning it was very expensive to acquire. You needed a lot of dollars for you to have a website to your business, because the more the functions, the more the codes, and the more the money. Because I'm not going to sit down for 2 weeks, 3 weeks trying to I'm going to sit down. I'm not going to sorry, for 3 months or 4 months trying to get around the website for just how much? For peanut? No, I'm going to charge you $1 million. So the thing is that for you to really code a website, complicated websites, it's not advisable to use codes. You have to use a simpler tool known as WordPress. It's just like a machete and a lawnmower. Like you can control basically everything in cutting lawns using a machete, or what we call a cutlass. You can control how the grasses go down. You can control where to cut, where not to cut. You have more control in cutting, or in cutting lawns using a machete than a lawnmower. But it takes you a longer time using a machete than a lawnmower. Lawnmower does the job, and it all depends on how well you can use a lawnmower. The same thing with websites. You can use codes to write a website, but you're not going to go far. It's going to get you confusing at long run. If the site is a very voluminous one, if it's a very big site with a lot of functions, it will be crazy using codes. It's going to take you a long time. But for WordPress is a generic website development tool. Like, it comes with built-in functionalities, so I can build a learning management system in less than a week or 2 weeks, and it's going to work perfectly well. And it all depends on how well you can use a WordPress, system. Now, like just the example between lawnmower and a cutlass, it depends on how well you can use a lawnmower. You can perfectly control everything you are cutting using a lawnmower. And you can actually use a lawnmower and a machete at the same time. Where the lawnmower wasn't able to get to or something, you can use a machete to finish up. The same thing with WordPress and codes. You can use codes. With your knowledge of codes, you can manipulate the WordPress setup very well. So WordPress is just a website design tool that that makes designing easier. It comes with built-in functionalities and gets your website ready as quick as possible. As a freelancer, somebody that doesn't work in a company, a WordPress setup is best for you because you can turn in jobs in the quickest time as possible. So it's the same website we are all building. Now before now WordPress was majorly for blogs, but not now. With the coming of plugins like WooCommerce, and MemberPress, Lendash, and many of all these, WordPress is no longer a blog, it's no longer a blog creation tool, but now something you can use to build e-commerce shops, something you can use to build learning management systems, you can use to build an agency site, you can use to build a real estate management site and all that. So it has evolved over time. So, but some persons still have this, 1960 or ancient, belief that WordPress is just a blog, it's just for blogs. About 3 years ago, someone was telling me that WordPress, my WordPress site was a blog. Like, and anyway, leave all that. I was just a learner then, so I was a bit. So there's just this general bias against WordPress designers, but I use the tool, and I must tell you that it's pretty easy and useful for you to use a WordPress. Make life easy for yourself. It's like saying there are cars where you decide to ride on a bicycle. Why? There are lawnmowers, you decide to use a machete. Why? There are shoes, but you decide to use your barefoot because it's natural to use your barefoot. Why? Why make things so difficult? So I'm not telling you that they are useless. I'm not telling you those who code are not good or it's useless to code. In fact, people who code get more jobs than those who use WordPress. Big companies employ HTML and CSS guys more than those who use WordPress because these companies can actually pay a ton of developers to build a particular website. They can pay like a team of 15 people who use HTML and CSS. They can employ the team, and the 15 of them will work on different functions of the same one website, and everything flows. They don't employ WordPress guys. You get companies want a total control of their website. It's not like WordPress doesn't give you total control either because WordPress is also written on codes as well. There's a part of it, there's a code aspect of it of which you can play with, and but company there's no job market. There's no like there's no employable markets in companies for WordPress users. Companies who invest in their websites, who do a lot of stuffs on their websites, who invest millions on their websites. They have teams of developers who most of the time are people who write HTML and CSS, and they are able to do this because they have the money. They have the money and they have the capacity to actually employ like 15 people to do all the functions, to write the functions of their website and to take care of the functions of their website. Now, but it's not the same with companies who have limited staff. You can't employ one person to code a learning management system. It's madness. You can't employ one person to code. Yes, he's going to code it. Fine, he's going to code it. What of when it's time to update? It's time to upgrade. Sorry, it's time to upgrade the site, and you want it to have a better interface or something. Okay, what if you build the site and you want the owner of the site to be able to manipulate the site? You are going to create a ton of functionalities or interfaces for the owner of the site to use. But a WordPress site, anybody can use it. It's just a matter of granting access and granting passwords and all that. But those who code will understand. So there's really no difference between a WordPress site and a CSS site. Okay, there's a difference, but in the functionality, what you can code by hand, you can as well use a WordPress to get. What you can get by WordPress, you can actually get by hand coding as well. It all depends on how good you are using these two, setups. So there's really no difference. Really no difference. In fact, WordPress is even more advantageous for guys who take website design as as a employment or something. They see freelancers, those who do web design as freelance. It's more advisable for them to use WordPress because you can have like four jobs at the same time, and you are giving timely. Customers can really have crazy time limits. They can give you something today, tell you they want it tomorrow or something, and you have to deliver. You can't just give excuses. So what I'm going to be taking you is WordPress. That's what I'm taking you. Yeah, I can. If in popular demand, if you want me to teach you CSS and HTML, fine. But those code, those yes, you have more market for that employability. Fine, you have that. But to get off the ground quick and start making money building websites, you're gonna have to do WordPress. And it's not like WordPress is easier, and it doesn't mean that WordPress is not as good as sites that are coded. Don't have that that's a very big misconception. That's a very big misconception that sites that are built on WordPress are less important than those with HTML and CSS. Very big misconception. It's not true. Give me a site coded with HTML. I'll give you a WordPress that is better than that site. And you know what? See, when I mean a site coded with HTML, I'm talking about a site coded by one person within 1 week. Give us the same space of say 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. The one using a WordPress will come up with quicker results. The one using a WordPress can build a learning management system in 2 days or 3 days if it's very hardworking. But you see someone coding that same learning management system, it's going to take like, if it's very quick, it will take like a week. And that's like 1 week is working every day. There are tons and tons of things you need to code on each page. Imagine you're coding like 40 pages, or you're coding like 20 pages. It's madness. It's not easy. But with a WordPress, it comes with everything. With WordPress, I mean, you can give permission to different users, and different users with different portfolios. Some users may be just some users may be in an LMS site. Some users may be administrators, some are editors, some are just students, some are instructors, different roles. Now think of the arrow back you will do when you're writing codes. Anyway, that's all advanced stuff. But as for my own suggestion to you as a beginner, my first job for a website design was 50K. The site is still running till today. The site is still running till today. The second job I had was an e-commerce site. The third one was a marketplace. The marketplace is still running till today as a website. If you look at it, there is no difference. It's no difference. So don't let anybody. In fact, if a customer tells you I hope you are going to be coding my site. Please tell him yes. If you tell him no, he's going to. Nigerians are very quick to judge, very judgmental people. They're going to say, oh, it's not a good website design. And that person doesn't even know, he doesn't know jack about, but anyway, no problem. So WordPress is what I'm going to be using for this site. Now, every site starts with hosting and a domain.